I'm gonna start talking, mostly because I don't plan on using this video. Two, it's easier to use this video, I think. I'll have to figure it out. But 3, I just got out of the Rise of Skywalker. I'll give the spoilers warnings. I think to start, I don't think we'll ever get over what could have been. At least the hardcore-ish fans. Those that were given some perspective from hardcore fans. JJ, I think, did the absolute best that he could have. And I think this is the best that could have been done. Like, I really do. If you get too complex, you hurt the casual base. You go too hard, kind of like how, can't even remember the second one, The Last Jedi. You go too hard, it just throws everything out of fucking order. And if you go too much by old scripts, at least the hardcore-ish fans, those that were given some perspective from hardcore fans. JJ, I think, did the absolute best that he could have. And I think this is the best that could have been done. Like, I really do. If you get too complex, you hurt the casual base. You go too hard, kind of like how, can't even remember the second one, The Last Jedi. You go too hard, it just throws everything out of fucking order. And if you go too much by old scripts, it's just recycled garbage. Originally, it's beautiful, but once it becomes recycled to a ridiculous point, it throws away what could have been. There's something about this movie that has a few, I think the biggest thing I notice is that you're actually screaming from front to about 3/4 in, because they are unfortunately forced to reconcile so much, so fast, in what is supposed to be a standard-sized movie. They brush past ridiculous pieces from The Last Jedi, such as the Finn and what's-her-face's, like, random romance. They play into certain Force interactions that were introduced in The Last Jedi. And I don't think they play too hard into any tropes. The thing about this aspect of the 9, but this final trilogy, is that they do something awkward in cinema where they never play all the way into at least the romantic pieces. There was a subtlety at that in The Force Awakens. There was a betray of that, at least between Finn and Rey, and some sort of subtle, and something played towards Ben and Rey, and that does have its moment, but then it is gone. And the tragic things must pass away. There's a few awkward points. Finn delivers like some action line in the middle of the battle, and you're just like, callbacks. Like, this should have gotten the Deathly Hallows treatment. This should have been a 2-part final film. And that's only because JJ had to fix so fucking much from The Last Jedi, I think. Just so fucking much. And I think everyone knew that walking in. Everyone that at least was of the hardcore fans, probably everyone with their own ideas, to the to the just casual fans. All like the Mandalorian add-ons. It opens hard and strong. They introduce the Knights of Ren, but they get one fight. Otherwise, they're just gonna be hanging out in the background the whole fucking time, and that's literally what they do. Poe gets a callback romance. He's playing... Like, they've really imbued him with more of a Han Solo-esque in this one. Finn doesn't really end up anywhere. He does some critical, like, battle things, but Finn is just, like, this sort of... He's the person that gets the little window of perspective into who Rey is. And the fight of Rey in herself, sort of like some Jack and Daxter shit, is just this fight between the dark and the light side. Like this thing where she accesses the dark side and blows up a fucking ship. Which, like, could have been some really big reveal later that whoever was on that ship didn't actually die. Like, this should have been longer. Like, the screaming part of this is that you're screaming because it's just flying. It is fucking flying. The Emperor shows up less than 5 minutes in, and you're just going. Like, he apparently just survived in some relative way from the Death Star explosion, and, you know, here he is. He's just made it. He's figured it out through, you know, Sith force power and science, or just sort of cloned himself back into existence. Fucking, like, that's not really, like, sort of made clear. It's just that at the end of it, if not early on, at the two big points where Palpatine is there, he's very much life supported his way in until, like, he saps some life force. And it's like this weird note. Final battle, there's this arena, basically, and there's an arena of, you know, Dementors, basically, in terms of how revealed they are, but just this arena of Sith. And it's unclear if that's actual Sith from out in the galaxy, which doesn't make sense based on, like, at least legacy lore or anything, any precedent. And perhaps, I think it's alluding that these are the Sith from the past, because it's all about the ceremony of slaying the master and the apprentice rising. I never saw any of the trailers, but from the look of the one where Rey has the double-sided red lightsaber, that didn't reveal anything. I had a guess, but that didn't really reveal anything. That was a good little moment. It just sort of, like, the thing about this movie is that JJ had to basically had to have the movie cough in directions of important plot pieces and character developments to drive home where things were. Like, I think the best thing for defining where shit has been since The Last Jedi, is, like, right when Poe and Finn get back to base. Rey is not there with them. She's back at home training under Leia, actually. Leia actually has a full backstory of doing Jedi work, which I may be forgetting. And she's trying to connect with all the past Jedi and everything. So that comes about again eventually. But the three, Poe, Finn, and Rey, just get into it. Like, they're just going at each other about, like, what each thinks and needs and feels where others should be. Like, it's a really good bit of dialogue, as opposed to, like, Ben's final moments in the movie where there's just no dialogue. It's just, you're just hoping, I can't remember that, it's almost there in my head. You're hoping he can act his way into, like, making this a compelling situation. Like, there's certain points of this movie where there is a lot of showing and then telling. Showing things and then telling what they are. As opposed to just showing, which was like just fine. And then there's points when you're showing and you're just going to have to sit there forever figuring out what they're trying to tell. And, you know, maybe there's something artistic about that, but there's something where you kind of want some last words from Ben. And, like, that's just not given to you. Like, the last thing Rey says to him might be everything. And it kind of is. And then he has the Jedi's passing. Which is kind of everything, I think, in a way. You late, Nego? So, it's good. Like, it is. Because it just plays, it does exactly kind of what it needs to. There's a lot of theory crafting that was going out about Rey being like a clone of Palpatine or a clone of someone like that because, you know, the recent, like all the clone stuff that Palpatine did. And they allude to that, but they only do that for Snoke because Snoke was supposedly created by Palpatine. Like, just Snoke was a puppet, which just plays really well into how unimportant Snoke became. Like, with how he was defeated. Like, there's a lot of cleanup JJ does, and he finds the best answers that can be made based on, like, what little even I know. Like, Leia had a lightsaber, that's random. They never answer that Force Awakens thing where Rey is given, what is that? Whatever, let me fix something real quick. I'll deal with that. Oh, fuck off. They never answered that lightsaber thing of just how the fuck orange alien woman got it. Rey gives her saber back to Leia, and then 2 minutes later gets it back, because, like, there should have been more time. Because Rey's just going through training at the beginning, while Poe and Finn are out trying to get word from spies and shit. And she's like, I'm going to earn this back. And not 2 minutes later, when it's time to go do shit, Leia gives it back in an unspoken gesture that they just both accept. And, like, it can be definitely its own gesture of just, like, you need this. You need to stop being too damn hard on yourself and shit like that. But, like, it's such a quick back and forth. Because I'm going scattered all over this thing. Ben has another conversation with Han, which is great. Kind of. Like, it's just so many things that are just like, yes, this is what needed to be done. Yes, this is what needed to be done. Like, the unfortunate aspect of the Rise of Skywalker is as much as you don't know what's about to happen, when it happens, you're not too surprised. Because, like, all the loose ends, all the crazy shit that was made in the second one have to be tied up. And, like, they win in a classic Star Wars looking way after destroying, like, another round, like having another star battle and everything like that, and having a lot of similar things going back to, you know, the Return of the Jedi. Just exactly as it played out. And the best thing is that the actual bloodline of the Skywalker goes. The Palpatine stays, but the Palpatine takes on the Skywalker mantle. It plays into that, you decide your fate. And they had some good script when Leia's talking to Luke. Yeah, everyone comes back. Her biggest fear is herself, and that's a really good line. That's a really important line. That's something I think a lot of people should be grasping, like in their personal lives. The Rise of Skywalker is a cleanup job, and it did a good cleanup. I need to have a proper discussion with someone else on this one, but it's a movie. It's the end of an era that kind of just does everything that it's supposed to do. It does it the best it can with pacing that's so fucking fast. Like, this movie doesn't fucking slow down until there's like monologue dialogues, and even then it's just Ben just makes leaps and bounds and assumptions and logic based on being introduced to Palpatine and shit like that. And like, Rey's parents get a proper reveal. I'm wishing I'd known some fucking backstory of, Palpatine's lineage, because, like, I don't think there's no fucking motherless Brooklyn shit going on here. Some random genealogical line going on with the goddamn villain. Sorry for the spoiler on that one, but fuck, man. Just can't get over the part where I don't think we'll ever get over what this trilogy could have been if it didn't get fucked up in The Last Jedi. Kind of want to rewatch just The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, but like, you ever feel like there's been just too many options given at one point? It's just like, instead of a clear transition, here's a bunch of transitionary options. Now you get to pick your own story, kind of. But unfortunately, those transitions lead off to so many goddamn loose ends that you are just bound to fix all of them. So, go see it.